It is said that we should not judge a book by its cover, and this fits perfectly for NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. His saint like appearance and soft spoken words may make anyone, Indian or otherwise, swoon over him, but his agenda is sinister. A report in the Globe gave details of Mr. Singh's appearances at two different events promoting Sikh separatism.
No,
At one of
I found details on one of those.
Oh, you did?
Do you want to see this?
Yeah.
This is interesting for a number of reasons. So, wait, let me zoom in. Okay. Jagmeet Singh can be seen giving a speech at pro-independent Sikh rally in San Francisco in 2015. Look at this rally. I've walked past this building dozens of times. I didn't know that there was a Sikh separatist presence in the Bay Area.
Okay. But this got your attention because it's in San Francisco.
Because it's relevant to me, yes.
Oh God.
But
Right.
okay, so he spent much of his early political life lobbying the Ontario government to recognize the anti-Sikh riots in 1984 as an act of genocide. So he defended. So when was this written? This was written in 2018. So he's defended his appearance, saying that that the rally in San Francisco should not be read as lending support to extreme elements of the Sikh community calling for independence for their homeland. There can be little doubt about the sympathies of many who attended the 10,000 strong rally in 2015. How did I not hear about this? I was here.
Hey, so I have this.
We can watch video of this if we want.
No, okay. I have this thing I have to tell people. Okay, so I'm gonna bring back Mariam Namazi into this discussion again. Okay, because guess what? Atheist Republic works with ex-Muslims of Great Britain on some, like when they send us a case that needs more attention, we will listen to them. Okay, but I consider myself a capitalist. What about you, Susie?
Yeah.
And guess what? Mariam Namazi is a communist, right? I have other communist friends, and connections, but I am a capitalist, and Mariam Namazi is a communist. But that doesn't mean, like I can have communist friends, even though I don't agree with that, and I can work with them. But people could say that if somebody wanted to accuse me of being a communist, for example, they're like, "Oh my God, Armin Navabi works with Mariam Namazi and blah blah blah," right? So yeah, but so I'm just saying, like, people just find connections so easily, right? So what I'm not saying he doesn't support. Maybe he secretly is supporting a separatist movement, okay? But maybe these are the group of people who are bringing attention to actual genocide. If they have some other side views that they want Khalistan to get separate from India, maybe he doesn't support that. Maybe he's just like in the protest because he's bringing up attention to this genocides of Sikhs. They have some other side views that he's not that into, right? But people that usually come up with conspiracy theories, they're just, everything is black and white for them, right? Again, I'm not saying he doesn't support the Khalistani movements, right? But if you're seen with somebody, or if you show up at the event of somebody, then the way that they connect the dots is that you must be endorsing everything they say and everything they do. And it doesn't really work like that.
Oh, right? Here's where that plane thing comes into this. So, in an interview with CBC in October of 2018, Singh refused to denounce extremists within Canada's Sikh community who glorify Talwinder Singh Parmar, widely recognized as the mastermind behind the Air India bombing that left 329 people dead, 268 of them Canadians. When the host asked him specifically about Parmar, Singh said this: "I don't know who's responsible for the bombing, but I think we need to find out who's responsible. We need to make sure that the investigations result in a conviction of someone who's actually responsible." 2 inquiries have concluded that Parmar was behind the bombing. So then this person, Ujjal Dosan, I have no idea how to say this. The former British Columbia NDP premier and federal Liberal cabinet minister said Singh's presence at the march was so prominently displayed as his presence at a march that so prominently displayed a portrait of Brindawar. Oh man, that TRT guy said this name so easily. But this is the guy who was killed at the Golden Temple that's become like a martyr. And he said it sends a message that Mr. Singh can't distinguish between whether or not the use of violence was appropriate in political matters. And then this guy has been labeled a traitor because he opposes separatism. Oh.
Okay, let's go back to the video. Let's finish the video. It's almost
okay. So there are a lot of people, and this is Canadian press. Look at this is CBC saying like, yeah, he does have a lot of ties to people.
Yeah, I think it seems like legit to be concerned about him not calling out that guy as like, because he's like, oh, we need to investigate to figure out who's behind it. And I was like, we did. It was this guy.
It's this guy.
So you may like it seemed like it's obvious that he's being tribal because they're Sikh, and he doesn't want to call them out. So maybe it seems like that, right? So maybe he's guilty of that. Okay. I don't know if you could say that proves that he's for the separatist movement. Maybe he is. Again, I'm not saying he's not, right?
Well,
but I'm just saying
this person who I believe himself is Sikh, saying it is not. I mean, not that gives him special credence or anything. It's not an isolated incident for Mr. Singh if you put alongside his refusal to condemn Parmar, a Canadian terrorist who killed Canadians, and him being honored at temples that have portraits of Parmar and others on the wall.
Right.
Seems to me there's absolutely no doubt in anyone's mind that Mr. Singh may harbor sympathies for those who want to dismember India.
Or yeah, maybe. Okay, cool. I mean, not cool, but like, can this go to
definitely not cool.
Not cool. I mean, I would be interested in more people pressuring him to be like, can you condemn? Would you condemn? This is not like an Ilhan Omar situation where she already like
FGM, right?
No, when she already declares some groups as terrorists, and when she's already saying this is wrong, and then people constantly asking her again and again, and she's like, I already did that, right? This guy didn't even do it once. So I think it would be it's fair to constantly pressure him, like, can you please call out these people? Like, you're a Canadian politician and these people killed Canadians. How hard can this be, right? So I think that's a fair point. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing some details, okay? Don't trust me. Do your own research. Let's continue.
Talked as if India were his own homeland. In a speech he gave there, he accused India of genocide.
Look at this. They're saying, like, so this guy is full-on Canadian-born, Canadian politician, Canadian race, okay? So they're saying that, why are you commenting on India? You're Canadian. That's not your country. Well, you commentator, Mr. Commentator, you've been talking about Canada. Are you Canadian? This whole time you've been commenting on Canada. Are you Canadian? Like, so this guy has no right to talk about India. What gives you the right then for you to talk about Canada? God damn it.
Homeland. In a speech he gave there.
Yeah, hold on. Look at what they're saying.
Events promoting Sikh separatism. At one of them, he talked as if India were his own homeland. In a speech he gave there, he accused India of genocide and described it as something that happened to us. His use of the first person was striking. He described India as our country where we live, a startling use of language for a born and bred Canadian politician.
Okay, if he did actually say that, I'm not I am a bit triggered as a Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not as somebody that you have every right to criticize other countries, right? But you're a Canadian and you're a Canadian politician and you're calling India your country? Like, no. I mean, especially given that you are being voted by Canadians to represent Canada. Like this is not unfair to India. This is unfair to Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And
where
he's
is
a
your
born and bred Canadian? Like you're
yeah?
not.
Like
And you're
where
like,
are your
hey there.
yeah? Where are your allegiances? Like you are you like especially as a politician, I want to make sure that you consider yourself Canadian and you consider yourself representing Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I want to make sure that that's what your mindset is at. All right. So I am a bit triggered by this, if this is accurate though.
Politician. Earlier, when the CBC's Terry Milewski pressed him hard on his views of the 1985 Air India bombing, the worst terrorist attack in Canadian history, Mr. Singh refused to blame the bombing on Sikh extremists. I don't know who.
Yeah, okay. So I finally might be agreeing with this channel for once a little bit. Like if he's not calling them out, if there is investigation and we know who did it and he's not calling it out, that's some BS tribalism, Sikh tribalism right there, right?
In this interview where he did that, this interview where he said that was in, I think it was when was it? Shoot. Decades after this attack.
Right. Decades after the attack, and he still can't call it out. Amazing. Okay, yeah, that sounds
he's like, I think there should be a full investigation result in a conviction of someone who's actually responsible.
There was
For years. My God.
right.
Of the 1985 Air India bombing, the worst terrorist attack in Canadian history, Mr. Singh refused to blame the bombing on Sikh extremists.
You know, I think most Canadians don't know that the Canada's worst, greatest terrorist attack was done by Sikhs. Did you like? I bet you most Canadians don't know that. Because if you just stop them in the street and ask them, a lot of them will probably think like, Islamists? Like what? Like I don't know.
I don't know who was responsible, he said. These factors give us an obvious.
Okay, as much as we would criticize him, the pink turban is great.
It's
though.
on point.
The pink turban.
Maybe that's how he wins people over. They're like, "Ooh, that baby pink."
Understanding of who Mr. Jagmeet really is and where his loyalties lie. Jagmeet Singh is the one who is making Justin Trudeau toe the Khalistani line against India and forcing him to make statements on the farmers' protests and internationalize the issue to corner India. It is even alleged that a PR agency linked with Jagmeet Singh has been paying celebrities huge sums of money to tweet about the farmers' protests and destabilize the situation in India, one example being Rihanna. If a Canadian ever wonders what's the reason behind the terrible relations
Hey, they're talking about me, Canadian.
between India and Canada, despite the diaspora and cultural proximities, they must be clear
Cultural proximities? What?
that it is for Khalistani sympathizers like Jagmeet Singh who spare no opportunity to try to destabilize India and cause a.
Okay, Canada is very liberal. Canadian people. India seems to be very conservative. So I don't know what cultural proximities they're talking about.
Well, maybe they just mean in terms of like populations.
That's not even close though. Oh, you mean? What do you mean?
Like people from the diaspora of India. There's a large population in Canada.
Yeah, and guess what?
I guess
The Indians in Canada are a lot more liberal than Indians in India. So they're extremely like more like the ratio is completely different. You know what I mean? Well, in fact, overall, Indians in North America are a lot more liberal than Indians in India.
Well, that's actually interesting. A member of our team sent an article to me that I still need to fully read, but I think the summary of it is that in North America, in the Indian diaspora is very liberal, but when they go back to India or when it comes to Indian issues, they're very conservative. So it's actually kind of split. Like we're kind of like a dual consciousness in a way. Like when it comes to India, it's conservative, but when it comes to North America and the US, it's very liberal.
Okay. We don't know how any. We're skeptical
but there was like
about
a study on this, though. I need to read the full thing, though.
Okay, we could look at it later. Anyways,
Jagmeet Singh, who spare no opportunity to try to destabilize India and cause a rift between the Sikh and Hindu communities in India. Justin Trudeau is leading a minority government and Jagmeet Singh is controlling him on his foreign policy. This is detrimental to Canada, and the near failure of Canada's coronavirus vaccine drive is the result of this.
You heard it here first, guys.
2021 is so weird already.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means that you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So, if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.